Are you the type of person that enjoys rock music? That despite enjoying regular pop or rock music, you find yourself drawn into complex compositions, highly technical performances, and never before done concepts? Well, if this is you, then welcome to this episode all about the 4 Seiyu artists creating music no other Seiyu artist has been creating. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is 4 unique Seiyu artists with a unique sound and concept. The time is here for me to geek about those Seiyu artists that aren't satisfied with performing trendy music. Seiyu artists that don't want to follow what every other Seiyu artist is doing. Seiyu artists who are willing to sacrifice exposure just to create or perform music they love and that reflects who they are. Seiyu that have almost a cult following them because of their unique sound. For this episode, I bring you 4 Seiyu artists that have a unique sound or concept, which is to say one of 2 things. Either no one else has the same concept and sound combo they have, or their whole deal is so complex and deeply developed that honestly no other Seiyu even bothers with trying to copy them. Unique sound or concept. There are very few Seiyu artists that you can say that genuinely stray away from generic pop or pop rock. And that's because when Seiyu become solo artists, most do so to earn some money rather than out of pure love for music or wanting to become a singer. And because there is a focus on making money, pop music is usually the path for most Seiyu solo artists. Of course, there are exceptions of Seiyu that genuinely wanted to perform pop music, but let's see it like this. If this was a game, performing pop music would be easy mode. Rock music would be medium, and performing unique music would be nightmare mode. There's a big reason why most Seiyu artists perform pop music. Big exposure, not to mention, it's easy listening. Well, as I said, there are 2 big music genres. The way to make easy money and sound cool at the same time is by performing pop music. That is a viable choice for Seiyu that want to have a softer image with their fanbase and potentially aim for having their music playing on Japanese radio or even be invited to TV shows to perform live. Good examples of that include Mamoru Miyano, Yuma Uchida, Shota Aoi, and Spark Lu. Then you have those that perform rock music. This is a choice that usually dooms Seiyu artists to a career of people not having much interest in their music, no matter how awesome they are as artists. Good examples include Yumake, Shotaro Morikubo, Kenichi Suzumura, and Shugo Nakamura. Seeing how both fare and taking into account their personal passions, some Seiyu were just, nah, I'm not doing any of that. I do have my own thing going on. And they decide to create unique concepts or styles, even down to embracing music genres no one else dares to embrace because, well, those are not popular, but they love those all the same. These are the Seiyu that I believe have a love for music way deeper than all other Seiyu artists. They are genuinely passionate about their unique sound. They actually take pleasure in crafting that sound or writing those weird, cryptic lyrics of theirs, even when music labels warn them that this path won't be easy or may never pan out. Well, this episode is all about them, those mavericks that love music in a really deep way, and as a result, have been creating unique music for you and me to enjoy. So, who are the 4 Seiyu artists creating unique concepts or with unique music: Kotaro Nishiyama, Shunichi Toki, Soma Saito, and Makoto Furukawa. Upon hearing those names, you're either aware of their unique sound and or concepts because you follow their work to some extent, or you do not understand why they are unique. This latter part is where I come in to show you how unique their sound is. What makes their sound unique? This is but a generic take on their sound globally. Later on in this episode, I'm going to talk a bit more specifically, although not in depth, about each Seiyu artist and why they stand out as unique. So to put it simply, it starts with the choice of music genres for their music. I've already said that pop music is the easy path for Seiyu artists, mostly because it is not that deep. It's called fast food music for a reason. It requires a good entertainer, not so much a good singer, to really click with the listener, and it has the potential to be wildly popular if their music label pushes them to become popular. Of course, there are exceptions of Seiyu artists performing pop music that are much more than entertainers. They are masterful singers. A good example of that is Yuma Uchida. When Seiyu artists embrace classic 60s rock, city pop, shoegaze rock, jazz and metal, for example, they are indirectly putting themselves on a path in which very few people will check their music. Those are music genres that are no longer popular. Some were always a niche. Others sound really dated to most people. But yet these Seiyu artists want to do their thing and break free from the generic sound going on for most Seiyu artists, and thus their sound ends up being unique, at times even almost exclusive to them. Then we have the unique concepts. Now, this is something that you can't necessarily say is going on for Seiyu artists. Maybe you have concepts going on for pop artists among Seiyu, but not so much for those that are creating unique music because, yet again, it is really difficult to label them. So when I refer to concepts, I'm talking about the concept behind their music, not their image or even who they are as solo artists. This is where things get really interesting. It's in the music's concept that you first notice the involvement of Seiyu in the creation, writing and compositions, or production of their own music. Note that this isn't an episode about singer-songwriters, so many of the names mentioned here are not doing both things for their music. But they have creative freedom, which leads them to having the creative output of what they want or not to have in their music, how their music will sound, even down to what they will be talking about in the lyrics, even if they don't write those. Creative freedom. I've already mentioned this in the last point and several Seiyu Lounge episodes in the past. Creative freedom goes a long way towards making a Seiyu artist sound unique. But do note that while some Seiyu artists have creative freedom, not all choose to go the obscure, unique route. They simply prefer having the freedom to create their own pop rock or pop music, better tailored to their tastes, while still sounding like everyone else. Few are the music labels that give creative freedom to their Seiyu artists, although in 2022 that has sort of normalized, giving the spotlight for Seiyu to write and or compose their music more often than, let's say, it was back in 2017, when there was a massive boom of solo artists. Trial and error is the essence of creative freedom. However, there is a Seiyu artist that has been impressively consistent since his debut. It is Kotaro Nishiyama. He is easily the most consistent, unique solo artist at the moment. However, out of all I'll be talking about, is the one with less music released, only 2 mini-albums at the time of recording this episode, which is to say, City and Laundry. Their experiences. Those Seiyu artists that have unique lyrics usually bring their experiences to the spotlight. Why is this something worth talking about, you ask? Because most seiyuu want to avoid talking about their personal experiences because of obsessive fans. So when a seiyuu bears their heart out, you know they are trusting you, their fan, to respect them and also to learn from their experiences as documented in those lyrics. Most seiyuu artists, especially those performing pop music, do not write their music. Thus, the experiences they talk about are generic and detached from the performer, although the performer does his best to make those lyrics his. Now, when you get to seiyuu artists that write their music, regardless of the music genre, you start noticing that things are personal. Those are songs that will make you reflect. Wonder what that seiyuu went through, what made them so melancholic, why they are so happy, so on and so forth. Those are unique lyrics that, despite touching upon topics that all other seiyuu artists touch, manage to feel personal. You notice that only them could have written those. While not the decisive factor as to why these seiyuu artists are unique, there are two seiyuu artists that make sure to take things an extra mile and blow your mind away. I'm talking about Soma Saito and Makoto Furukawa. How unique are each of these seiyuu artists? Kotaro Nishiyama performs city pop with a laid-back, whispery style of performance. Now, this is not a necessarily refreshing sound, as there are plenty of seiyuu trying their luck at the music genre. However, no other seiyuu has decided that it would be their trademark sound. Yes, Kotaro Nishiyama is the only male seiyuu artist that performs city pop as his trademark sound. You know that by listening to one of these CDs, you're going to listen to city pop. It's that obvious, and that is what sets him apart from all seiyuu artists. Shunichi Toki is a pop rocker that loves to mix in a little bit of jazz from time to time. Is this unique? No. Everyone does that to sound mature or fancy. But what sets him apart is the fact that Toki's sound is heavily inspired by 60s and 70s rock music, even down to capturing the sound from those decades and having it in his music. Is anyone else doing that? No. Shunichi Toki is a unique solo artist with a sound so retro, yet so respectful to its origins that makes his music stand out as unique. Soma Saito is by now considered one of the best, if not the best, singer-songwriter among male seiyuu. And his sound and concepts are otherworldly, marrying music with art, literature, psychology, and even philosophy. It is worth saying that when Saito made his solo debut, he said that he wasn't going to perform pop music, at least as you know it. He's known for his alternative pop rock sound that, as of late, has been more focused on rock music than anything else. His solo career until 2018 was generic and didn't really stand out. But his career after 2018, as soon as he took over as composer and lyricist, he's been untouchable since then. Makoto Furukawa is the only male seiyuu performing classic jazz or acid jazz music. This is as risky for his career as it is awesome, especially when he goes for bebop and swing, two amazing subgenres that are all about the perfect balance between mature and sexy and elegant and intellectual, but that aren't necessarily easy listening for new seiyuu fans, for example. Jazz music isn't that popular among seiyuu fans, but Furukawa made sure that it is interesting enough, creating unique worlds in his intricate lyrics and layered, mature jazz sound. Much like Soma Saito, Makoto Furukawa is a literature geek, bringing his influences to the lyrics he writes, creating unique songs that will make you stop and think. The best example is his concept album From Fairy Tale, which plays out like you're reading a book. Although this was but a quick overview of what these Seiyu artists have managed to do, have into attention that the route they chose for themselves as solo artists is not one that would initially lead to popularity. Out of the 4 Seiyu I talked about, only one safely can say that they are popular and successful as a solo artist. So choosing to have a different sound or approach to their solo career as a whole is not to stand out, but to feel comfortable about who they are as performers, creators, and singer-songwriters. It gives them a unique identity they are proud of. They are not being someone that their music label envisioned for themselves. They are being themselves. Unmasked, heart bare, emotions exposed for everyone to see and feel. This is what makes Shunichi Toki, Kotaro Nishiyama, Soma Saito, and Makoto Furukawa absolutely unique, and their music always a treat to listen to. Seiyu solo artists have managed to spread their wings a whole lot in the last couple of years, with some actually trying to see what they can do to feel more comfortable, to be more genuine, to absolutely love what they do. And that's how you end up with some Seiyu solo artists creating and or performing music that no other Seiyu artist is. Or even how some Seiyu write lyrics so complex that you have to sit down after listening to their music just to decipher the hidden meanings that open up completely different stories or give a completely different look at the Seiyu artist's feelings. Having a unique sound may be intentional. A good example of that being Soma Saito, that said upon his solo debut in 2017 that he wanted to rebel against today's pop music. But what he's achieved since then has been a result of his curiosity and passion for music more so than rebelling. He's too far away from that initial statement of his, now creating a unique pitch black brand of alternative rock that no one else even dares try to copy. Others just perform music they love, as simple as that. Good examples are Shunichi Toki and Makoto Furukawa that perform music they are incredibly geeky about, regardless of whether or not the music is popular with their fans. They are at their most genuine when they perform the music they love. You can hear that in the way they sing, you can see that on stage. Those aren't faked emotions, but pure, genuine love for what they are performing. And then there are others that may not have a lot of control over their music, but you can tell that there was a joint effort towards making a stylish, calm sound that suits the Seiyu's demeanor and singing skills. A good example of that is Kotaro Nishiyama. I've said it before that Kotaro Nishiyama performing city pop and singing in a whispery style are all made to suit a lack of singing skills or technique. Don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing him. This is me actually recognizing how bloody smart Nishiyama and his producer are by choosing a music genre that can be performed in a gentle way, thus not showcasing many flaws on the vocal end, actually none, while making sure that the singer suits that style and is comfortable enough to perform in such a way. Whispery style of singing is not easy, so kudos to Nishiyama for having been absolutely consistent in his first 2 mini albums. Now tell me, in your opinion, which are the things that make a Seiyu artist unique? And which Seiyu artist do you believe is performing music like no one else? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male Seiyu and music related content, hit the subscribe button. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.